Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I'm over here on the left-hand side. What is up, everybody? Cruising to work today. Last night, Monday Night Raw, Raw 25. I didn't make my Raw review video last night because it's not 2010 anymore, but I thought that this honestly was a big enough show that deserved to have a Raw review for the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. I think over time, this is the show that people are going to look back upon. My instant thoughts is that it's not Raw 1000. And from looking at Twitter, there was a lot of people out there that had a lot of nostalgia thoughts about going into the show. And honestly, it did not live up to the hype. It didn't even really build up the Royal Rumble. I made a video last week talking about the changes on YouTube, and basically talked about one of the reasons why I wasn't going to WrestleMania this year was I didn't feel like it was worth dumping the money into WrestleMania, even if I was going to be spending a week with my friends. That I just really didn't feel like I was 100% involved in wrestling, and I didn't love it. But I said that, with Raw 25 and with the Royal Rumble coming up, I could feel it coming up. For the people who watch my videos consistently, if you go back and remember the month before Survivor Series, I was really hyped for that Survivor Series pay-per-view. Just the thoughts of Raw versus SmackDown. It's something that always sort of interests me. And I thought that was going to be a really good show. That ended up honestly being a dud. Last night, they didn't really hype the Royal Rumble at all, besides for the final segment with Kane, Brock, and Braun Strowman. And even that seemed like it was really nothing. To me, the Royal Rumble really is the 30-man, in the ring, competition that goes down to see who's going to be going to WrestleMania to challenge for the championship. I know that, most Monday Night Raws, most SmackDowns before the Royal Rumble honestly always end in the same segment, which is really, guys coming out saying, I'm going to win the Rumble, I'm going to win the Rumble, and then next thing you know, you got 30 guys inside of the ring, and it's like a big, just clusterfuck as Monday Night Raw goes off the air. That's how it normally almost always ends. And not getting that, normally complaining about it, doesn't really make sense about why I actually wanted to see it. But, I am still, pumped up for the Rumble. I think that Nakamura is going to win it. Him not being on Raw 25, I believe, is a way that they could have got a lot of eyes on him. It's not like people don't really know who he is. I mean, most people who watch Raw are going to watch SmackDown and know, who these guys are. But sometimes you got to put somebody in a spotlight just to tell people, like, hey, this guy's a big deal. Look at him. But we didn't get that. I don't know where they were or where he was. He just wasn't on Raw. And Orton wasn't on there either. I'm not the biggest Randy Orton fan, but I mean, if you're going to be celebrating the 25 years of Raw and the biggest superstars that they've had, having Orton there would have I don't know what he would have done, but at least it would have been more than what they did. Let's get down to what they did do. Opening segment, honestly, was when we all should have turned off the TVs for the most part. The Vince, Stone Cold, and Shane deal was really cool. I mean, that was 25 years of Raw wrapped up into 15 minutes. That's probably the one thing that put WWE over WCW with the whole Austin versus Vince storyline, and people wanting to see it, people caring about Austin because he was the, Joe somebody, the guy like me just driving to work every day, but, he gets to, kick his boss in the nuts and, drop that guy on a stack of dimes. I loved it. I mean, that was the best thing on Monday Night Raw altogether. And then from there, basically, you had the Undertaker segment, where he basically came out at the Manhattan Center. He gave a promo, and then he left. He didn't really say much of anything other than he was still digging holes, and he wanted to go throw guys in there. People read that two different ways. Some people thought that it was Undertaker saying that he was retired and that he was done in the WWE, but he had done a lot and was one of the best superstars that they ever had. And some people think that they're, building towards a program between him and John Cena, and they don't want to give up on that. I honestly don't really know how to take it. The one thing I remember more than anything about his promo was at the end of it, Jim Ross saying, "Is that a threat?" Which is basically making me think that someone's going to answer that threat, and we'll have to see where we go from there. Quite possibly the one thing that got me hyped throughout the show, even though I was falling asleep, was at the end of the show. That involved DX. I honestly thought that Triple H and Shawn came out and they delivered a promo. I know that DX sort of has two different factions involved under the same name. DX was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. DX was China Rick Rude, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. And, Rude and China were not able to attend last night, so I understand that. But I don't really... I know they've done it once and they've done it twice. It seems like every time they bring DX back, it's like, we all know that Triple H and Shawn are bigger stars than everybody else. But why do they all have to come out separate? Why is it that, Triple H and Shawn always get to have their, 5 to 10 minutes by themselves, and they're like, oh yeah, and we got these other guys. I thought it honestly worked with, the Raw 1000 show, but when they do basically the same promo, and then they do it 5 years later and do it basically the same way, you're looking at it like we've already seen all this. But, Outlaws come out, X-Pac comes out. X-Pac brings out Scott Hall, which was pretty cool because I honestly thought that he was just going to sort of wander in on that poker game that was going on in the middle of the show, and start playing with them. But, he came out and then immediately was commercial, which was weird. But once they came back, they still had the camera on Razor, and basically when Razor was doing his thing, the Balor Club came down, and I honestly thought that was really cool. I got this mystique, like, oh my God, they're gonna turn on him. I know you're probably out there like saying, like, Steve, you always see that turn coming that never comes, and it really didn't make sense. But I think that's honestly what they were pushing for, was what's gonna happen. Here we have the Bullet Club, coming down, and then we're gonna have a face-to-face with the Click, and we'll see what happens. I honestly wonder if that's what the plans were. If Nash would have been able to be at the show, and the Outlaws just would have done something else. And I think the honest plans was it was going to be the Click and the Balor Club have their moments, and they just figured, like, fuck it, let's just put the Outlaws in there so we get the DX full-on reunion, and we can use them there, even though they're not really the Click. But that was really fun, and then that turned into a match with the Revival. I've always been a really big fan of the Revival. I mean, I was hoping to see them get a spine buster from freaking Arn Anderson, and Ric Flair be standing there by his side. It didn't happen. Arn was just in the back doing something with Charlotte. But we got to see all the old guys. Nothing really gave a rub to what was going on today. So I think that's the one thing that I'm not got my nose up in the air at it a little bit. But I just think that, honestly, I expected a little bit more. I feel bad for those people at the Manhattan Center who basically got a 205 live house show, which is them having matches. They got to see the Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt match that's going down on that house show loop. They got to see the Click and Balor Club. They got to see Undertaker, but they didn't really get any moments at all. And I know that some guys made appearances during commercials. The Miz went over there, and he got a face-to-face with Seth Rollins, and I honestly don't know if that led to a dark match between the guys. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I talked about it in the morning. That's what I was hyped about more than anything. The Manhattan Center looked really, really nice for the show. But I think they let those people down. They spent lots and lots of money to attend that show, and it just really wasn't what it was supposed to be. If you want to run house shows in the Manhattan Center, that's cool with me. But, those people that are hard-earned, money-making WWE fans spent that money, and I don't think they really got anything other than that collectible chair to take home that, honestly feels cool to have, for the walk out of the place, so you can show off like your trophy to all the fans that are jealous that you got one. But really, when it comes down to it, I don't ever really see those things sell anywhere. So basically, people are just collecting them up, and they're like my buddy Vic, who breaks them out for Thanksgiving, so everybody can have a seat around the table because he don't got enough chairs. But I don't really think that those things are collectibles, and I don't really see them fetching big money. I mean, I'm not saying that if you have one that you shouldn't treat it like it's the coolest thing in the world. I've only been able to get a chair one time, and I sold it in the parking lot to Robbie Rebel. Peace out, buddy. Where you at these days? What you doing? But Manhattan Center for Raw seemed like a lot of money, and they didn't really get a whole bunch of anything. Here I am, waking up after. I really remember that poker game, which just kept on going on and on, which ended up rolling around to a Rhino and Heath Slater versus Titus Worldwide match with Apollo Crews, which got broken up. So, I mean, I don't really know. So, it just seemed like it was a dud, and it didn't really knock it out of the park like I was hoping they were going to. So let me know what you guys think about it. I'm about to start heading up this hill. I'll listen to the Observer and see if anything comes out today. Peace out, everybody.